to be able to walk away from his ego, which is the outer world with all of its pain and all of its hurt. He was able to walk away from that and get into this other dimension. And in that other dimension, he found that there was peace. And he found that there was hope. This is called an awakening. Others use the phrase, the transformation of consciousness. The book on miracles calls it thought reversal. Thought reversal. You have to think differently. You have to make sure that you get into this other dimension. And what are the doorways to this other dimension? First of all, and most obvious, there is transcendental meditation. Now, you and I believe in meditation. The Bible says that we should meditate in the law of God day and night. But we're thinking about content. This is contentless meditation, where you plug in to this dimension of consciousness, into the spirit world. So it comes through that. It comes through a trance, if you're guided by a guru. By the way, when I was at the Parliament of World Religions, I said to a Hindu man, after striking up a conversation with him, I said, you know, when you're into transcendental meditation, you do get into the spirit world, don't you? And he said, oh yes, he says, we encounter spirits, but that's why you need a good guru, is to get you past the dark spirits. So that's one way that you can get into this other groove, that you can switch channels. What you find is that out on the street, so to speak, in some of the literature, not the authors that I'm speaking about today, they think it is through psychedelic drugs. But in some way, what you need to do is to have this transformation. Eckhart Tolle says, and I quote, if you find this book, he's talking about his own book, incomprehensible or meaningless, it has not yet happened to you. So you would say to somebody like me, it still hasn't happened to you. But there is a worldwide awakening that is taking place. Marianne Williamson wrote a book entitled The Healing of the Soul of America, and this is the great hope right here. Now, this is Satan's most dazzling deception. His most dazzling. If there's anything that he wants to duplicate the new birth. If there's anything he wants worship. And if he can pull off and make people think that he does what God does, this gives him his most satisfying moment. Of course, in the end, receiving much greater judgment. It's an unwise decision on his part. But he can't help himself but give people something. And he's got the method to do it. What about Jesus in the midst of this? Well, the book on miracles says that you do not need help to get to heaven. And as far as our Jesus is concerned, what does it say? Quote, I'm quoting now a course in miracles, a slain Christ has no meaning. And now another quote, do not make the pathetic error of clinging to the old rugged cross. The only message of the crucifixion is that you can overcome the cross. Until then, you are free to crucify yourself as often as you like, but don't make the pathetic error of clinging to the old rugged cross. Now, isn't this interesting? And by the way, remember, Marianne Williamson is the one who is teaching the course on miracles on Oprah's radio show, probably to not hundreds of thousands, but to millions of people. This is it. Do not cling to the old rugged cross. Those of us who are a little older, and I'll bet this is true of Jerry Edmonds, wherever he is sitting, but because I'm a pastor, I have to rephrase that. I venture to say this is true of Jerry Edmonds. We remember that there was a song called The Old Rugged Cross. We haven't sung it for a long time. But where would Helen Schuchman get this idea of clinging to the old rugged cross, taking it right out of a hymnal? She was not brought up as a Christian. The song is not sung very often. But remember, she didn't have to. She was only taking dictation from what her spirit guide told her, and I can assure you that every one of those spirit guides, those evil spirits, however many there are throughout the world, they know about the song, The Old Rugged Cross, and they hate the song, The Old Rugged Cross. Well, this is Pastor Lutzer, and if you happen to tune in only to the end of this broadcast, I hope you caught what I was saying. The book, The Course in Miracles, says that don't make the pathetic error of clinging to the old rugged cross. And yet this book, this ponderous 600-page booklet, which was written by automatic writing, a spirit came along and enabled Helen Schuckman to write it so that it bypassed her consciousness. That book is being used today by many different people to somehow understand and to connect with the other side of the spirit world. And of course, Marianne Williamson, who wrote a popular commentary on it, is teaching these things. That's the point. Well, I'm out of time. Tune in next time for more information.
Thank you, Pastor Lutzer. Erwin Lutzer is continuing his series on Oprah, miracles, and the new earth, a critique of a perverted gospel with roots in the Garden of Eden. Tomorrow, more on miracles as evidence of man's self-proclaimed divinity. Running to Win comes to you from the Moody Church in Chicago. This series can be yours as a book from Moody Publishers. Oprah, Miracles, and the New Earth will be sent as our thank you when you give a gift of any amount to support Running to Win. Just call us at 1-800-215-5001. That's 1-800-215-5001. Online, go to offerrtw.com. That's offerrtw, all one word, .com. Or write to Running to Win at Box 11174, Chicago, Illinois 60611. This is Dave McAllister. Join us for tomorrow's Running to Win.